Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Double Edged Sword, where we talk about both sides of a situation. Um, no matter whether it be about religion, whether it's about violence in the streets, cars, just multiple subjects that we're gonna cover or that can be covered in Double Edged Sword. But today we are going to speak about the idea of falling off, and this is really in for celebration of the album, the J. Cole album that is coming up soon. I'm not sure if it's already out, but coming up soon. um Essentially thinking about the idea of what it means to fall off. um Now granted, in the it's like a trailer pretty much for his album, but it has a scene where J. Cole is sitting in the Waffle House, and the narrator is pretty much discussing like what it means to fall off, and pretty much, kind of like, I'm paraphrasing, but pretty much saying that, you know in some circumstances it's needed for somebody to fall off so that the next person can shine. But I don't know. It's like when you think about people falling off, I think about like, especially if we're gonna discuss about music, I think about like certain rappers that, they essentially made a one hit wonder, or they made an album and continued to make music, but their music just wasn't touching on anything. I would say, like, just, and not even just with musicians, like everybody has like a scene of falling off, and at some point in time they might even call it blacklisting. But I feel like for the most part, especially like Dave Chappelle, I feel like in a sense he fell off, but he jumped right back on the horse. You know what I mean? Cat Williams, in a sense, I feel like he fell off, but he jumped right back on the horse. So it's not too much um that it's a regular occurrence, but it is something that can happen. It's something that can definitely change your whole value of life. With J. Cole, I don't necessarily want to call that a fall off. Like, you have so many things, and it's the irony that this would be his seventh album, and seven is just a wonderful number. But back to the point that I'm trying to make is that it's just, I don't know. I don't feel like J. Cole fell off. I don't feel like J. Cole can fall off. You know what I mean? Like, J. Cole has such wonderful hits and just music that even if it doesn't get popularized, that it's just music that touches your soul. Like, I don't feel like that's the end. I mean, but you got to think about it. J. Cole is invested in so many other things that it's like, even if he stops making music, that doesn't mean that he about to fall off and be like some of these, and God forbid, I'm not making fun of them, but some of these rappers, musicians, models, actors, child actors that, all of a sudden now they on the side of the street. You know what I mean? Over there begging for change and whatnot. But the double-edged sword, I would say that, especially with pulling back a little bit from music, J. Cole is a person that, he very much seemed like he'd be the type person that, he's grateful and he's thankful for the position that he, is able to get in, especially with this music and whatnot. But I feel like it's not something to where he's like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I don't have this. I feel like for a big part, we're seeing this. This is the man that has been seen in his hometown, has been seen riding around on a bicycle. You know what I mean? Like, he's chilling. Like, I feel like, honestly, like, he's more of a family man than we would actually understand, because we don't really know inside his head. But I feel like, honestly, there's not too much that somebody could say to J. Cole to make him be like, hey man, you fell off and whatnot and this and the third. It's like, I feel like J. Cole would literally probably just like chuckle or laugh in your face and then keep walking. But that's just me. Uh and then it's just annoying you hearing a lot of people talk about they don't want to hear J. Cole say he's the best. But that's my whole thing. If you're not a fan, if you're not a fan of J. Cole, or if you're not a fan of rap, just say that. Because I can play at least 5 or 6 songs off the top of my head where a rapper, female or male, is talking about how they can do something that nobody else can do. How they got it like this and whatnot. So it's like, for you to say that you don't want to hear somebody say something, and basically the reason why they're saying that is because with the whole situation between Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole, like when that whole situation arose, J. Cole kind of bowed out. J. Cole kind of wiped his hands of the situation and took a step back. And to me, I feel like that was a big step. Because it's like, for the most part, even behind the scenes, people were saying that this was more of a Drake and Kendrick situation. Like, you know what I mean? They started playing like their music in the background, talking about, oh, this is when Drake shot shots at Kendrick. This is when Kendrick shot shots at Drake. It's just, I don't know. I feel like more so that's not the reason why I'm seeing it like that. Now, did I see it like that at first? I'd be lying if I would say no. I'd be lying if I said no. Because honestly, I did think, I'm like, you just said something about the big three. You just said something about the big three. You know what I mean? And I'm a J. Cole fan, so it's like you just said something about the big three, and then now you're over here, nigga, fuck the big three, nigga, it's just big me. And you didn't say anything in response. That's something that kind of had me like, Cole. But at the same time, you got to understand where Cole is mentally and where he's just at in his life. It's like, I feel like for some people, they understood that it's like, he's like, I'm good. But even with the understanding of what a fall off is, it's like, I feel like even if J. Cole dropped this, right? J. Cole dropped this and then didn't make no more music. Didn't make no more music. I feel like it would be a thing to where if he wanted to, he could probably jump on somebody's feature. He could jump on somebody's feature or make a little private album, little quick, little 2-3 little songs, and people would still be like, nigga, he still got it. Because, I mean, think about it. Think about one of the people that could do it. One of the people that could do it right now. I feel like that's Andre 3000. Andre 3000, I feel like, honestly, Andre 3000 has, I feel like he's left that playing field. I feel like I don't want to just say above, but I feel like he's in his own plateau. But I do feel that if he decided that he wanted to come back, I feel like not only would he have the support of his peers, like his friends, Big Boy, I'm sure people would support him, but also from his fans. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up on Stankonia. You know what I mean? I grew up on You Are the Prototype. Like, you know what I mean? I grew up on that stuff. So it's like, to me, nigga, I'm gonna be the first mother. You know what I'm saying? I'll be the first motherfucker, for real. But, that's entirely on him. That's entirely on him if he decides to move forward with that. But double-edged sword in that situation I could see is that if he stops making music, then he can kind of relax and focus on other stuff. What other stuff? I don't know exactly. But I feel like, for the most part, there's so many other things that he's invested into that if he stopped making music, there's not going to be a fall off the way that he's impressioning it or the way that he's trying to say or just the way that it comes across. Because when you hear fall off, you're thinking fall off like this nigga might go to the other side of the map. Like, this nigga, we might be on a abandoned airplane, a crashed airplane, and then we pull up on this island, and then all of a sudden, Cole. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's where some people, they take it to that extent. They take it to that extent when they think of a fall off. I think some people think of that extent, but to the most part, to the main people, I feel like we understand Cole in this sense. But I mean, he got a kid. He got a kid. He got a wife. Maybe he's trying to grow his family and stuff like that. Maybe this is time for him to think. There's been a couple people that said that they're not coming back to music or that they're done with music, and then they come back. So who knows? I just feel like, honestly, in comparison to a lot of other people, I feel like you can't compare this fall off to a career-shattering moment like what has happened to some other people where they actually do fall off. Like, keep it a grip. I just thought of one. I mean, honestly, I've been thinking of people and whatnot, but Mims, this is why I'm hot. Now, people, Of the newer generation, they might not know that song, but people my age, we know that song. I grew up on that song. But I feel like for the most part, that shit it didn't take off. I mean, it took off, but it didn't have nothing following up behind it. It's like, this is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. Like, I feel like that was it. Like, so ain't no telling. I mean, honestly, ain't no telling. I don't know Mims as a person. I don't know Mims as a person. So ain't no telling. He could probably transition, gone the producer way, start making instrumentals or something. You know what I mean? Like, ain't no telling what he's doing now. Shit, you could even say Mike Jones. Shit, you know what I'm saying? We could really bring up a good amount of people. We could really bring up a good amount of people when it comes down to the idea of falling off. So that's why I'm saying, like, that's why I wanted to bring up this idea of the double-edged sword, because you see both sides of it. It's like you see what it means to fall off, but I just don't feel like that is, I don't feel like that applies to J. Cole. That's not even just from a fan standpoint. I feel like that's just from a visual standpoint. Like, look how much people rock with him and whatnot. Like, and then we could even bring it in another step forward, and we could even bring in Frank Ocean. Now, Frank Ocean, I don't compare. I'll put him in the same category as like J. Cole. Not not so much lyrically wise, but just mental. Like, I could give this shit up tomorrow. You know what I mean? And there's a couple people that I could put in that category, but I feel like, honestly, Frank Ocean is somebody that he'll disappear like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Frank Ocean would just disappear. But it's a different idea of falling off, because I feel like if Frank Ocean one made another album out of nowhere, just boom, here I go. I feel like that shit gonna sell like hotcakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, people gonna jump on that, no questions asked. This shit is incredible, man. Just wonder what that life could be like. Like, hearing some of his lyrics, hearing some of J. Cole's lyrics in the back of my head. Like, just the idea, if you let them kill your dreams, it'll haunt you. So it's like, it's the fact, did you achieve that? Like, it's like, honestly, this would be a moment that I really wish, like, some of those random moments, people that live in Fayetteville, we know of it. But them random moments where somebody might have ran into J. Cole. I've only seen J. Cole once. And that was it was downtown here in Fayetteville. It was in Fayetteville. um when we had the march for George Floyd. And we was all, say his name, say his name. Then all of a sudden you see it was the basketball player that came from here too. I don't remember. Is it Dennis Smith? I'm not sure. I could be completely bringing up a whole different character. But um they both showed up. And it's like the attention went towards them. People were no longer saying George Floyd's name. They were no longer concerned about that. They were concerned about seeing J. Cole and the basketball player. And even J. Cole was like, no, this isn't about me. Like, he was, he kind of got the crowd and whatnot. He was like, this isn't about me. I'm glad, this, that, and the third, but this ain't about me. Woo woo. So it's like, we went back to it. You know what I mean? I was already what's called, like, once I saw him and the basketball player, they were like from my visual, like from where I'm standing, they were at least like maybe like half a football field away from me. So it's like, when I saw them walking towards the market house, I went ahead and started just walking off to the side, and I was still, say his name, say his name. Like, I was there. So I actually have visual, like, I've physically seen an NBA player in real life, and J. Cole. I've actually seen them in real life, like, but This would be one of those moments that I wish that I could meet them. I could meet either one of them. You know what I mean? I would definitely like to sit down and have an interview with them and discuss have further discussion. Cuz it's honestly the impact J. Cole has had on music, even his come up and whatnot. It's definitely something interesting. It's something to almost marvel at. It's not so much, oh my God, let's jump on this dude, whoop whoop. But it's like at the same, it's like we gotta give you, hey, what clubs, what they say, Drink Champs gotta give you your flowers on that. So definitely, excuse me, but definitely. So yeah, that's where I would take from that the idea of the double edged sword. Um, the double edged sword in this idea of falling off. You have the one side where, you know, it's like your impact on music is gone because you have some people who are expecting the moment that you jump into the game, they want that same energy, they want that constantly. They want your music until the end of time. You know what I'm saying? And that is that pressure, that pressure and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm just speaking from my ideology of what I would think. Ain't no telling about how J. Cole himself would actually physically, mentally feel about that. You know what I mean? So I would say the double edged sword is just the idea of that pressure, falling off, the idea of what it means to fall off. And even in his circumstance, falling off. Um, so I would see that, but at the same time, I feel like I said before, I feel like this is something that if it really came down to it, I feel like J. Cole would, and is giving it up, and it's like he had his impact in the game, but it's like, okay, bet now it's time for me to bow out. Somebody else can reach the top, but it's a double edged sword. It's a double edged sword. That's the whole purpose of these videos. That's the whole meat and potatoes of it. Loud ass car going nowhere. But yeah, man. Me personally, you know, if I was a rapper, I honestly could see me still continuing to make music. I don't want to put a limit on how much music I make. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you can make music off some of everything. And me personally, I'm not in that game. So I don't know about the pressure, the stress, the early mornings, the late nights. I don't know anything about it. Totally unaware. So, but same time, I I feel like music is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Everything can bring a vibe of music. So it's like I couldn't see me giving up what it means to me, what music means to me. And not just rap, not just hip hop, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's a little bit deeper. So even all of his album titles have some deeper meaning. You know what I mean? All of them are, to somebody who's an overthinker, it's deep. Like even one of my favorites, one of my personal favorites, For Your Eyes Only. Like that's just that name itself is incredible. I'm making an album that millions are gonna listen to. Millions are gonna listen to. Millions are gonna download. But it's for your eyes only. It's like that's a personal note to everybody that listened to that motherfucking album. That's why I await. I can't wait to. I know they showed that one song, but I want the whole album. I want the whole album. You know what I mean? Any songs that I'm just not vibing with, that I might not particularly like, I might delete them. But the ones that's gonna stick with me, I know they're gonna stick with me. I got songs from all of his albums. So I got some songs that I like, some songs that I know, some songs that I like, some songs that I like that I know. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, you know what I'm saying? Like definitely. Like the impact. Cole, you got the glow like a little lightsaber. You know what I'm saying? Like come on. Come on. We're talking Jermaine. You know what I mean? Come on now. We're talking about Jermaine. Stop. Stop playing. We're gonna ignore that. That's what you're hinting at. Like I know you said they're posting hints and whatnot. We're gonna ignore that. We're gonna ignore that, dude. We didn't even hear you say that. We didn't even hear you say that. I don't believe you. but but yeah, man. So this will be the end of the video. It's 20 minutes. I plan on making, like longer videos come down the line. I do want to start doing interviews and start speaking with people and just, understanding the double-edged sword, which applies to multiple things and multiple people in life. So I just want to essentially give everybody a chance to speak, give everybody a chance to, they don't gotta spill their guts and whatnot in front of each other, but give everybody a chance to speak. You know what I mean, but what it is your double-edged sword in your life, and how does that affect your life? Like what things are important to you? What things go wrong without you even having to do shit about it? And it's just that's the whole point. Double-edged sword. I want to come out with a logo. I want to come out with a logo soon, or at least something to have in the background. Like maybe put like a green screen or something in the background and have that logo, so it just be my face or somebody else. Because this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning, man. Um, I'm starting off sitting in my car, double-edged sword, first podcast. That's how we doing. All right. Well, love, peace, chicken grease, and y'all stay cool out there. Peace.